Hello, I'm Maya, and I love reading. Like, I was obsessed in middle school, but it got a bit amplified in high school. Last year, I read 33 books, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I started reading the last week of August. So within like 3 months, I read 33 books. I read some of these in one day, but anyways, nevertheless, I'm going to be talking about 6 books that I would recommend to anybody, and even people that don't like reading. Like, please just give them a chance. Okay, so starting off with what I think is the basic, it's Harry Potter, because Harry Potter is my favorite series ever. All of my Harry Potter books are different. I don't think I have, I guess I have like 3 books that are the same. Anyways, off track. Harry Potter, and I have the Sorcerer's Stone, but the Harry Potter and the Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Harry Potter. I got so attached to these characters and the story. Like, I read this series in 3rd grade. I didn't really remember it though, and I was obsessed with the movies for years, and I read the series again. There are so many more things that happen in the books. There's characters, plot lines, events that just don't happen in the movies. I'm really not going to elaborate because it's Harry Potter and it just seems really basic to me, but please go read the series if you haven't, especially if you've seen the movies. Read the books. Second, this is my favorite author, and even though this probably isn't my favorite book of his, I think it's his best. And if you've seen the movie, again, I'm saying read the book. It's The Fault in Our Stars. Because, let me elaborate. I know it just seems like a sucky romance book, and it's not. There is so much heart and humor, and the characters are so charismatic and like so easy to get attached to. Obviously, like, you know, the ending. We don't need to talk about it. It is so much sadder in the book to me. I don't know why. It is so good, and especially if you've seen the movie, please read the book. It is incredible. Next, this author I was obsessed with for a while, I'll give it to you, but when I started reading more of their books, I was like, okay, this author just doesn't really hit for me. It's Colleen Hoover, but I would highly recommend Reminders of Him. This is not my favorite again, but I think it's the best story and the best, the plot twist isn't too crazy, if I'll say that. I am going to be talking about my favorite book of hers soon, but this one is so good. The premise is very messy. There's a woman who wants to get her child back because she had her in prison, and the family will not let her, and it is just crazy and chaotic, and I love it. Now, this is my favorite book by Colleen Hoover, Regarding You. This book was the first one I ever read by Colleen Hoover because, okay, family interruptions. Anyways, Regarding You is the first book I read by Colleen Hoover because I really was so excited to read It Ends With Us because I've heard so many crazy things about it, and I was like, okay, well, I probably shouldn't start with her best book or everyone's favorite. I should read this one first. Why not? I don't know why I did that. Because this one's the best one and my favorite. The plot twist is so mind-boggling. I felt like the hallway was moving, and I was just it took me back. It was one of the ones where I literally had to I was reading the plot twist, closed it, sat down, and I was like, what the crap just happened? Please go read it if you love plot twists. Plot twists in books are my favorite thing ever. I love a chill book, but plot twists. This next one is a series I read in middle school, actually. It's a 3-book series, but there's another add-on about her kid. It's called The Selection by Kira Cass. When I heard that the Netflix show got canceled, I literally... Topic for another time. This book is so good. It's basically The Bachelor, but in olden times. But not olden times. It's a fantasy land where there's a king and queen, and the son is trying to find a queen or a wife, and oh my gosh, there's so much drama. There's girl cat fights. It's amazing, it's a mess, and I love it. And it kind of has a good love triangle. This one is different. But this one is called One True Love by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Besides John Green, this is my favorite author. Her books are so good. They include Daisy Jones and the Six, Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, Malibu Rising, all of those good ones. I haven't read her new one, by the way. I know I'm horrible. This book is so good. Again, kind of a love triangle. I know, I'm sorry. It's a love triangle, but it is so good and so messy, and her writing is just so like calming and makes sense, and it's not dramatized, dramatic, not blown out of the water or anything. It's just natural, and she doesn't like say a bunch of unnecessary descriptions, if that makes sense. I hate when authors draw out like random things. I don't know. This one is so good though, and the story is so interesting and compelling, and I highly recommend it. I think it's my favorite book of hers, probably. I've read like 4 or 5 of hers. That one's my favorite. Okay, this next book I actually have 2 copies of, which is like a weird story that I don't really need to tell because it's not necessary, but it's called Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers, and I know there's a lot of controversy over, not this book necessarily, but the movie. The premise of this book is there is a woman in prostitution, and there is a man named Michael Hosea, and he, like, God tells him that he should be with her. And it's just such a good romance book, and I know Christian romance books gets a lot of hate because there's no like inappropriate stuff in it, but I personally would really recommend this one. There is a lot of sensitive topics, and so I probably would read like some trigger warnings or some of the topics that are brought up in this book, but I would highly recommend this to anyone who likes to read. And those are my books, and I know I said 6 and I showed 7, and who cares? Not me. Those are 7 books that I would recommend to anyone who doesn't like reading or likes reading. I went to Barnes & Noble today, and there was a 50% off sale, but like of no good books, and it was so sad. No books that I wanted to read, but I will tell you guys some books that are on my TBR. Forever Interrupted by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. That's kind of it. Anyways, I haven't read the Summer I Turned Pretty book. Hate on me, it's fine, but those are my 7 books.